Hello everyone, happy Saturday. For some reason it looks like it's about 11 at night. It's not, it's about 2:30. I've got my ring light. I don't know if you can see like the circles in my eyes. You can tell I've got my ring light on. This video is about my New Year's resolution to try and read a book a month. I kind of spoke about this in my kind of 2022 video, which was a few weeks ago. And considering we're nearly at the end of January now, I finished, finally, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This was brilliant. One of the best things I've ever read. I just, so good. It was so good. I kind of want to do like a spoiler full review. So if you want to read this, skip way ahead because I'm going to spoil this. This was great. It was so good. The way that the narrative kind of just flew was really, really nice. I wouldn't say this book is like a slow burner, but a lot of the action happens in like the last like 40 pages maybe, or a lot of the questions are answered in the last like 40 pages. It's kind of a mystery, kind of a oh my gosh that just happened kind of thing. The way that the two characters that didn't have any link at the beginning suddenly had this massive, really significant, life-changing link by the end was mad. I know that I've said I'm gonna spoil this, so I don't know why I just explained it like that. Evelyn's sixth husband. He is the sixth. Harry Cameron, he dies in a car accident with someone else in the car, and that someone else in the car turns out to be the journalist's father who's writing this book, basically. Not Taylor Jenkins Reid, not her, but the author character in the book called Monique, it's her dad that's found in the car. It was so beautifully told as well. I really struggle with books that are really wordy, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to have to read a whole page of like description of a place before we actually get back to what's going on, because I feel like that takes up a lot of, you know, book time basically. I like the action and what's happening to be happening rather than just a load of description. I know that obviously description is important so that you will kind of understand a sense of place, but this gives enough description to let me know what the place looks like without going into like crazy detail, because I feel like that takes up way too much like book time. And this is a nice sized book. It's about 385 pages. For some reason that number is in my head. Yep, 385 pages. And then you get the acknowledgements and everything at the end. My only issue with this book, and this was my own issue, because I read up to when she marries Harry Cameron, so her sixth husband, is that it? Yep, her sixth husband. So here, this is what I had left to read. I read this in a day, and I read that over about 2 weeks. But my issue was, between this point was about 3 months, so I kind of didn't forget what had happened, but I'd forgotten like some character names or like surnames and stuff, and that's quite important when it gets to like the big reveal kind of thing at the end. So the big reveal didn't like go straight over my head, but I would have clocked onto it a hell of a lot quicker if I'd read it all in one go, basically. But I did absolutely love this, and I do recommend it to anyone that wants to read a little bit about Hollywood glamour, Hollywood in like the golden age of Hollywood, the 50s, and then goes through to the like late 90s, early 2000s, but then it skips back and forth from 2017, I think, which is when Evelyn Hugo summons Monique to write this biography of her, which is, you know, this book. First bit I kind of only read of an evening, but then that second section I read it all on like Tuesday or Wednesday this week, because I just finished my uni module handed that all in on Monday, so I had a couple of days free before going back into uni. So I thought, do you know what, I don't actually have any work to do, let's finish this, and I ended up finishing it in a day. So I definitely think you could read it. I could probably read this within like 3 days probably. I'm not an overly fast reader, although again I did read a lot of this in one day, but because I was so like drawn in and stuff, it was really easy to read. So I definitely recommend this to, I would say this is a book for like maybe over 16 plus. I wouldn't say it was 18 plus, I would say 16 plus. There aren't like explicit sex scenes in here, but there is like steamy scenes. We'll go steamy. Let's go steamy. There are steamy scenes in this. Not like crazy explicit, but quite steamy. So there we go. I would say 16, 18 plus, but I thought it was great. I had a bookmark in here. It's quite a boring one. I don't know where I've put it. Who knows where I've put it? It's probably downstairs somewhere. But it's just kind of boring, and I was like, okay, I could do something a bit more interesting with my bookmark. So I went on to Etsy, good old Etsy, and I found this bookmark. It is a little bookshelf with empty book spines where you can write all of the books that you've read in 2022, which I thought was lovely. And considering my challenge this year was to read at least one book a month throughout the entirety of 2022, I thought this would be a good way to keep track of what I've read. I have written The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, although because the book is quite small, I abbreviated to The Seven Hubs of Evelyn H. That's who she is. There are like bigger spaces, but because it's the first one, I wanted to put it in the first bit. I wouldn't say I necessarily read the entire book in 2022, because I didn't. I read half of it at the end of 2021. So that's why I'm kind of determined to get through another book by the end of January. But I just love this bookmark. It's double-sided as well. I probably won't go through this many books. I'm only planning or aiming to do one a month. I think that's a reasonable goal, considering the amount of stuff I've got going on at the moment as well. But I just thought it was a really nice, kind of a keepsakey thing as well. I might get one of these every year and like then frame them after 5 years or something. But I thought that was very cute. So the next book that will go in there, hopefully before the end of January, is this, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I'm currently on page 42 of 200 and something, 288. I'm going to put that bookmark back in there before I forget. The chapters in this are really short. I've not actually read a chapter longer than about 3 or 4 pages, whereas in this, it could be like 20 pages per chapter, which is absolutely fine. But I kind of prefer it when they're shorter, because I don't like to stop reading a book unless I've got to the end of a chapter. So if I'm reading this of an evening, I've got to get through at least 20 pages to get to the next chapter, whereas there's a chapter almost every other page. I don't know if that's going to change, because I'm properly getting into the story now. Okay, so page 60, 42, 52, that's 22 pages? No, it's not. Hang on. 18 pages. My math is awful. 18 pages until the next chapter, which isn't that bad, and the writing is quite big. Like, it's quite nicely spaced out writing, so I don't think it would take me too long to read this, whereas this is it's small, and there was just a lot. But I'm excited to get into this. The little review thing that it says here is, it's a wonderful life for the modern age. So I've been excited to get into this, and I have been enjoying it actually. I think I will finish it by the end of January. I also think it's going to be kind of an influence or point of inspiration for my next university project, which is my final university project. I have got like a couple of ideas for that, but nothing solid yet. But I kind of want to get somewhere with my ideas, because I've got 14 weeks to do it, but if I take up 5 weeks of that trying to figure out what I actually want to do, then I'll only have 10 weeks to actually do it. So I need to speed up and think of an idea. But I think this will definitely be an influence, just because I really like the narrative, the way it's laid out, and that it's not episodic yet, but I think it will turn into quite an episodic kind of book. I won't really reveal anything. I will read you the blurb, but I won't really reveal any more than that. So the blurb is, Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived, which raises the ultimate question. With infinite choices, what is the best way to live? I've been enjoying this so far. Hopefully I will get to the end of this by the end of January, which I think I would do because I'm about to spend the afternoon reading this as well. Gonna edit this and then read this. So I'm excited. I've just realised that throughout most of this video, my whole tripod's been like slowly expanding and leaning out. It wasn't until I started talking about this that I'm like, I'm down here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope this gets you inspired to go out and read something. Hopefully I will finish this by the end of January so I can add it to my bookmark as well. Kind of hope like that I do, so that I feel like I have properly read a book in January. Even though I finished this in January, I didn't start it in January, so a bit like, don't know if that counts. And then on to February. I have got a book here after this one. But luckily I am going home at some point in February just for a weekend, so I can pick up a couple more to bring back with me so I can do the next couple of months worth of books. But I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next Saturday. Have a great rest of your week and see you soon. Bye.